Hey guys, this is Eric from TopFlight Trades. It is July 25th. I have my headphones on backwards there. It is July 25th, 2015. Today is Saturday, and we're going to do the weekend stock review like we do every Saturday. And again, what we do is we look at what happened last week with the markets, take a look at what we played, what we're holding, and looking ahead to next week. So if you don't know me, I'm Eric from TopFlight Trades. I have a website, topflighttrades.com. Come on over there and you can see what's going on. Also, you can find me over at StockTwits, and I'm also over at InvestFeed. If you haven't seen InvestFeed, come check that out. It's a new site. It's really taken off, and it's a pretty neat site. And it doesn't have a lot of noise to it like StockTwits does, or Twitter. So a lot of awesome people over there as well. So come check it out. So basically what we're doing today, is looking ahead, looking back and seeing what the markets are doing last week. And one thing I can say is our assessment here in the last few weeks on the markets, not finding new highs, trading sideways, and playing on the short side was definitely a good move, because this last week, particularly yesterday, was very good for us on the short side, not so much on the long side. What I'm kind of surprised about really is seeing how much, I've explained in previous videos, looking back at the S&P, why I shifted from my long position. I've been long forever, it seems, more on the short side. And looking at pretty much the S&P chart, we've never reached new highs, and so we're finding lower highs, which pretty much allowed us to trade sideways. And then we've had some really killer days, and it's not really looking very good. But a lot of people are still long. Not that I see or know anything any different from anybody else, but I guess I have a hard time seeing why so many people are long right now and they're losing their shirts. It's really sad. You gotta be diverse enough and play both sides, but things are not looking up right now. It's pretty clear. And so, if you do play on the long side still, I hope that you do look at some short positions. I'm playing a lot of them right now, particularly with options on some puts. And there's a lot of awesome opportunities on the short side. We've just been really doing well on it. And we'll get into that. I'll look at that here in a little bit. But, for now, I was a little hopeful about the markets continuing the bullish trend. And it was here last week, I believe IBD, maybe a little earlier, changed their market outlook from under pressure to back to a confirmed uptrend, which not by my eye. So we'll take a look at that. So why don't we do that right now? Right now, today, I'm not expecting us to have any guests join us today. This is an unscheduled weekly review. And of course, this video will be available on the website at topflighttrades.com. It'll also be available on YouTube, and I'll post it to StockTwits and InvestFeed and other places like that. You can view it, of course, whenever you can. It'll be recorded and there on demand for your convenience. So what I will do when I get to the end of this, I will throw a couple invites out to a couple of our members to see if they're around. It's difficult. They're around the world, so it's really kind of hard to line our schedules up. And today is once again a busy day around the Eric household. So I do have some time in that. That's not an issue. But I had a really hard time pinning down a good time to do this video. So we're doing it right now. So let's jump ahead and we'll take a look at some of the charts here. Do a screen share. All right. So I believe you can see us here. So let's take a look at the S&P. Okay, so the S&P, where were we? Just really quickly, again, looking back. I'm not going to recap everything, but I believe it was this point here a few weeks ago, well, a couple months ago, when we failed to meet new highs in the market. And that's when I pretty much was losing confidence in a bull market. And of course, it turned around, broke above new highs, pulled back. And then right here, of course, you never made a new high. Pulled back again, all the way back to the 200. This was where we had a lot of the problems with Greece and China and, Puerto Rico and other things going on. And I thought that was pretty much it. When we broke through the 100-day, the blue line here, came down to the 200-day, I was a little worried. We did get a little bit of bounce out of it. Then it finally broke through again. I'm forgetting what was going on there. Again, Greece, I think. Greece deal was essentially kind of resolved. This thing just popped nicely right back up. By this point, I was mostly short on a lot of things. And so, it doesn't necessarily give lose hope on the markets overall as far as a bullish trend, but we need to get past this. We need to find new highs, and we didn't. And again, now we look at last week, we're back again, and zooming out here, this is just nuts. This is really difficult. So again, until we can start finding new highs and getting some real growth out of here, I will remain on the short side for a lot of different plays. Now, a couple other things too. Pretty much my strategies that I like to play is when I'm bullish, I like to play the very best stocks, and I like to play breakouts. I'll play some off support. But again, I want the best companies out there. So if the market's up or down, I want the best probability that they're going to continue to climb high, even on down days. And a lot of the leaders do. But I want the best. Now, at the same time, when the market's weak, or if we're in correction, I'm playing the short side. I'm not going to play the best stocks. I want to play the worst stocks. I want to play these companies that just absolutely have horrible fundamentals, no sales, they're losing money, they're not growing at all. I want companies that are most likely to show me some probability that they're going to continue to fall. I want it to go in the same direction that I want it to go, and where I think it's going to go. And so again, on the short side, we play a lot of these weak, very weak, struggling companies, and the probabilities of them, the stocks continuing further, are great. And those are the ones we play. So, and again, if the market continues to go up and take off and find new ground, well, then I'll be moving back to in addition to some shorts, back to some bullish plays where I'll find the best companies, again, your AMBAs and you name them, and play them on the upside. I was really glad we didn't play Apple last week. I was a little confident in not really. I don't follow Apple too closely. I thought Apple was going to beat the earnings here, no problem. I really did. I thought that was going to give us our breakout here, and this was just going to pop. Kind of like Google. Yeah, I was hoping we'd get something like this out of it. I didn't play it though. I know a few of our members and other friends were going to play it. I know a couple did play it, and they're regretting it because it just tanked from 132 down to 120. And I actually was away, but I pulled up the 1 minute chart on that day at 130, and not realizing their earnings were coming out at 130. I believe it was 130. I pulled it up just to happen to see. And right when I pulled it up, the 1 minute chart was at 132. Then all of a sudden, just boom, a big long red candle down to 120. And it bounced around there a little bit, but very ugly. And that was, of course, after hours, and bounced a little bit. Still hasn't recovered. Now it's coming back again. So I'm really glad I didn't play that. And what they say, between 40 and 50 billion in market cap was lost right there. Just incredible. So, okay, let's go back and take a look at the S&P here. So again, this is what we're looking at. This is one trend line that I had drawn previously. You can see we broke through it, but we pulled back again. So let me get rid of that line there. Yeah. So, I mean, where are we going now? Well, like last week, I thought we were up here at this point, and I thought we're going to pull back just because we're coming up to the resistance here. And of course, that's what it did. Of course, I was hoping they would continue, but, coming up to this resistance line, we've just been trading sideways, and now we're going to go right back down again. How far are we going? I don't know. Monday obviously is a new week. I haven't looked at the futures or anything yet really today, but, we can probably expect it to come down to the 200. If it's a bad week, it'll probably sit around the 200 for a couple of days and hopefully not break through, hopefully get a bounce out of it. But, this is just where the trading range we're in. And, you can really count on it to go between, support and resistance. Let me just draw this right here. Just my eyes catching that right there. Sorry for all the lines here. I got my linear regression on here. Let me take that away. There we go. Okay, so you get the idea here. Let me look at the weekly on the SPY. Okay. Well, anyway, so we're kind of in this area here. So we can expect to probably to come back down to this area. Either way, hey, not either way. I'd love to see this breakout again and continue the bullish trend and take off and just make some money on the upside. But again, till then, that's where I'm at. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Okay, here's the NASDAQ. Okay, let's update this line right here. I think you're seeing what I'm seeing there, right? Something like that. Okay. Um, yeah. NASDAQ, of course, is doing a little bit better. We are finding higher highs here. Did suffer a good pullback there on Friday, but you know what? That's a lot better. It's not really trading sideways. I see a channel here. Let's see what the linear regression is doing. Okay, well, there you go. Let me get rid of my line here. I'll stick with the linear regression. You can see the channel we're in right now. So again, kind of the same thing with the NASDAQ. We'll see what the markets do. I guess, I think we're going to come down here to the 100-day perhaps. Certainly not the 200-day, but the 100-day or this channel or this support line we kind of had drawn in here. And of course, looking at the RSI, we are heading downward here. We're going to get the crossover here on the ADX. And then, of course, the Stoke. I don't have the full Stoke fast and slow lines here. I just have the fast line drawn in. A little easier on the eye, but you can see it's up here above 70 right now, and it's at 79, and it's now curling downward. So you can see the trend here, the pattern we have. Well, I expect it to come back down and at least eventually cross underneath 50. If the markets do turn around next week strongly, of course, this thing can continue higher and all that. So there's no guarantees of anything, but we'll keep an eye on that. Next, we have not the Dowie. Oh, it is a Dowie, DOWI. Okay, so here's the Dow. So this one's much weaker. You can see that the linear regression channel, the channel we have here, is slightly downsloping a bit. This is really much weaker. We are not finding new highs, really at all. A little bit here, it came up to that area, but not very strong at all. And then you can see, of course, where we landed Friday. Boy, it's close to finding a new recent low. And in next week, again, if we start off weak in red, we'll find new lows here. Where's it going? We're underneath the 200-day on the Dow now. So what I look back at, look at previous support, resistance, might be better on the weekly. Let's take a look at the weekly. It could be in there, 17,130. Either way, if we have a bad week and this breaks down, yeah, it's coming down to probably the 17,000. Excuse me. So that's what we're looking at. So not very good. And again, you can see the Stokes in the same position. ADX already crossed over. You get the RSI is already heading downward. Keep an eye on that. See if it can. Let me point this out right here. The RSI is a good tool here I like to play with. And, it's fun to draw some lines on it. But, support and resistance really does work. And trend lines work pretty well on RSI. And if you play with it a lot and you get to know it a bit, you can use it as a good indicator, a good indicator to when to enter and exit a position. It's pretty unique. I really like it. It's been a lot of fun to play with, and I've actually been using it quite a bit as a tool to determine whether to get in. So, look for higher highs and lower lows or whatever you're going to look for, breakouts. I mean, again, I'll look for the RSI to see what it's going to do here. So I just drew this line in here. You can kind of see it's always come down to this point nearly and, touched it and bounced off it and that kind of thing. Okay, that's great. Well, now we're coming down to it again. So if we get a bounce out of that, we'll get a bounce out. It'll of course be reflected in the price and we can get a bounce. Now, if this fails, just like the price, where is this going to go? And it's going to definitely head lower. Looking at the Stoke, that's up high right now and curling down. Perhaps we have, looking at previous performance here, looks like this is going to continue downward, and the Dow cannot afford much room here on the candles. You see, we're already at the top, as far as we're at 70, where are we at 66 on the Stoke, and if we were to allow this to come on down, we don't have much room here for it to do that. So that would tell me we're going to break down below, probably come down to 17,000. But we'll see. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. Bumped the mic. Okay. So what are we looking at? Well, a couple of things. I'll kind of go over a little bit and show you what I'm in right now. First, let me jump over to the short list. If you come over to TopFlight Trades, I have published on there the short list. Again, normally I produce the premium picks list, and those are all bullish plays. And those are the best, like I explained before, those are the best companies out there playing breakouts, other plays, some support plays. But again, we're not producing those. my system I have is not producing any because those stocks are struggling and they're not meeting the criteria to make the premium picks list. That is why. That's another one of my big indicators on things are changing, because I'm not getting the premium picks that I normally get that do so well. And so I can't force it. And so, that makes me, realize that things are changing a bit. So I also have criteria for short plays. And you can see I've started to populate those just here in recent months. And how far did we go back? April. Okay. Going back to April, and just throwing them on here. And these aren't necessarily premium picks, but these are ones that meet my short criteria, and they've been doing really well. Again, just shooting through here, and we definitely have more winners than losers. Let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Here we go. It might be, whoa. Okay. So you can see here, PSTR. So April 17th, PSTR, we're up 57%. It's dropped, from 471 is where we entered, and it's now at 198. SZYM, 35%. SYRX, 17%. These are all short plays again. So these are our gains, playing these on the downside. 30%. Look, 71%. AGEN. We'll talk about AGEN here in a little bit. Let me write that down. I had a request for that one. AGEN, again, that was on my short list some time ago, and obviously it didn't work because we're down 21% on it right now. It doesn't mean it's still not a short play, but we'll take a look. And so on. So you got win here. I played that a few times, 58%. There's look again, made the criteria again, 66%. So there's more than one entry point on some of these. Cali. Okay. So this is just going back to April. I mean, great returns. Okay. So what else we got? ICLD. I played that. Jivo played that. Yeah, I played a ton of these. So anyways, now rolling up into May. Here's a 60%er PBMD again. CMCM. I got emails and texts on that one. What are you talking about? Well, we played it, and I think it's doing better now. But back then, we squeezed 16% out of it since then. PBMD again made our criteria, 57%. Yoku, 26%, and so on and so on. Let's just keep scrolling up. There's CMCN again. Avio, 23%. HOTR, 27%. There's Yoku again. ATNM, 35%. And see, I mean, these are just a lot of awesome plays here. Now we're getting into June. Juno, 23%. Ren, 15%. RXDX, 17%. Tibio, I call it, 26%. HNR, 38%. SPHS, 28%. So we got a lot of awesome plays in here. Now let's look in June or July. We're in July now, right? Okay. So let's look at July. Starts with HSC, 20%. NES, 48%. That's just from the first. That's only 25 days ago. NUSA, I'm in that. I'm not doing well in that one, as you can see. Viv, 12%. MBT. Okay, you can read. So Maxwell, 24.5%. Let's see. Let me scroll up to a little modern times here. What else we got? PVA. Oh, that was just a killer. And that thing's still dropping. It's 27.9%. CHK, 21.9%. Okay. And I've added some more here today. But you can see here in the last, even the last few days, going back to the 20th, boy, these aren't bad returns in 4 or 5 trading days, 3 or 4 trading days, 6%, 2, 4, 4, 4, 8, 4. We got Kala in there. We'll wait on that one. So anyways, today I added UCTT, ITech, and FTK, and we'll look at those. Anyway, so the short side you can see is clearly have been doing well. And these companies, again, are ones who are struggling and ones that are making, they're falling apart pretty much. And kind of like breakouts, these are breaking down. And similar criteria, but just kind of the opposite. It's really simple, folks. There's nothing here that's really magical. It's, when I want to win, I want the best on the team. And when I want losers, I pick the worst on the team, right? And you play similar breakouts. that's about it. And the same trading rules, and that's how it goes. So those are some of the ones that we're playing right now. I'm going to shoot through a few of these that I'm in right now. Let's kind of just show you. And a lot of these have all of these plays should be on the short list. I've added all of them. So here's DeVry. DeVry is one I got. Let me zoom in a little bit. I did not get into this. I think I got into this kind of late. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. I don't have the date written down. Oh, 6/29. I did get in on this day. Okay, I was watching it back here. We had this day. So I got in here some point during the day. It was probably in the morning. Anyways, so I'm probably about even in this one right now, but it obviously came back up to that's the 50-day, and then now Friday gave us a good day, and I expect us to continue to fall further. We have earnings coming up in 24 days. It's an estimate of 63 cents per share. And then backing up here, you can see when we have had earnings and it's missed, we've got some pretty extreme gaps down of a reaction on the earnings, and I would love to see that again over here. I'm playing an option on this one. Where am I at on it? Yeah, we'll see. I'm playing obviously a put. So, all right, next one. This one's just been a monster. FCX. This is part of not the premium picks list, the short list. I think I made the short list a few times. I got on this one on the 7th. Backing up. This day right here. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit. This guy right here. So the 7th, I got in 7th. Usually it's in the morning, about a half an hour into the markets, 20 minutes into the markets after open, I mean. And it just kind of traded sideways. And, based on the criteria I was seeking, I was expecting it to break down. Of course, when I play these on the short side, I want to play them before they break down. I don't want to play them if they're trading sideways. They can stink all they want, but I want to see some downward movement. Just like you, I want to see a breakdown, not a breakout, obviously. And it took a few days, and just had to be patient and wait. And, for the play, I was in it. It took another week. Then we started to break down here, and then we found newer lows, had a green day, and then just broke down, and we had earnings. It actually beat earnings. You could see here, estimate was 11 cents, and the earnings reported 14. But I'm forgetting what was bad. Their outlook for the year, and they wrote off a bunch of debt, and they took on debt, and just a mess. Certainly don't waste my time too much with looking at their fundamentals. But they obviously are losing money, and the market's just not being good. So it's obviously mining, Freeport, McMoran. So this one right here, this option play, I'm up like 200% on it right now from this day, which is just sweet. And this is the kind of option play I want. Obviously, one to get some real price movement out of it. So getting in at what did I get in? Say 17. We're now down to 12. Yeah. So my contract on that to put expires in September. So we'll keep an eye on this one. I'll probably start peeling out here a little bit. I'm definitely past my profit target on it. But again, I want to let my winners run, and if we do get some movement and we start finding new highs or anything like that, of course I'll exit. But I'm really love to see where this thing's going to go. Obviously downward. Next we have AEE. I got into AEE up here. This guy right here on the 8th. Is that the 8th? Yeah, the 8th. Pretty much RSI hit a high here. I was expecting it to pull back. It did. We pulled back and it found a new high. Made me a little nervous. It was a higher high right here. But since then, we've pulled back. Again, this company, the fundamentals are just a mess. It's really struggling. And we got earnings coming up in 6 days. We have a 63 cent estimate. We'll see where we land on that one. Kind of see on the RSI here, I got some lines drawn. Pretty much, it's kind of hard to see here. But you can see, let's start with this guy. Well, this is actually more of a longer term, but you can see we kind of hit a couple of support areas here. And so looking at this, looking for, make sure this isn't going to bounce off this and go. And if it does, then we're going to see it up here, but obviously it's breaking through. So that's going to tell me that, we've broken through, obviously, on the RSI. And the other one I had drawn on here, let me see if I can find it. I was looking, it was something like that. And we had 1 point here, 1 point here, and then we failed it. And you can see at that point early on, that gave us a good indicator that this was turning. I mean, clearly it is. I mean, you could do this with price as well, right? But RSI is fun. I like using it. And again, I'll look at other indicators, see what we have. And okay, down here I got the Stoke, same kind of a thing. I mean, it's really simple. And I know this is these don't look into the future. These are already reflective of the price action. But sometimes candles can get messy. I mean, looking at the RSI is a lot, and the Stoke is a lot cleaner to see than this. Don't you agree? So anyways, we broke through right there. So that's going to be another confirmation for you that this is heading downward and it'd be a good play. So again, 39, we're down to 38.50 right now. So we'll let this fall. It'll probably come down at least to 37 here when we hit earnings. And I hope it's horrible and this thing just tanks because, again, I'm short on this. That's AEE. Okay, BDSI. Okay, bio. So BDSI. Now this one I covered a little bit last week. This one is, I'm doing half okay and half not okay, if that makes any sense. I played this originally back down here. When this broke through, broke down and gave us a new low. I got in down here on the short side, of course, and it just it failed and it went up. Well, when we got back up here to the 100-day, I bought more. I bought a different contract, more puts. Now, what I don't like about that play is, and it was really unintentional, I suppose, but I don't want you to ever think that averaging down is something that I ever do. It's a path that's going to lead you to ruin. So again, you buy a stock at $100 and it's not going to do what you want. And the thing drops down to 95 and you say, I'm going to average down and I'm going to throw another 5,000 at it. So then it goes down to 95. Well, now your average price would be the 97.50. And then it goes down to 90. And you say, oh, and you throw another 5,000 at it. And then you say, well, now my average is going to be 95, whatever the heck, and you're trying to average your price down. But the problem is that the stock is still falling in price and you're still throwing money at it. Okay. You don't want to do that. And I kind of looking at this later, I bought a contract down here and it failed on me. I'm still holding it. I'm still confident this is going to fail. But I took advantage of another contract up here. I got a lot cheaper price on it because this had been running up. And so I have two contracts on this one. So the second contract was so far so good. We came up to the 100-day and now we're pulling back. And through the long term, I expect this to come back down beyond underneath 7, and both contracts will do really well. But right now, one's profitable and one is not. So that's BDSI. And I know a lot of people are real positive about BDSI. I'm not. They're expecting a 30-cent loss here in 12 days. Last quarter, they had a 16-cent loss. Back here, they had 51-cent loss, and it tried to bounce around, and it just absolutely failed. I don't know what the news event was here, but not good. So, again, we'll be holding this one for a while, actually into September. So we'll see how we do with BDSI. Next, I have MBT. MBT, this one's doing really well. Currently up 50% on it. I got into this on the 6th. Where's the 6th? Let me zoom in. So the 6. Okay, that's right here this day. Okay, so basically you can see I'd seen here we had some basic short-term support right along here. This last red candle here on the 2nd. It's 4th of July weekend, gave us that. And then on the 6th, Monday, when we opened up, we opened up beneath it and we're heading downward and I got in there. So obviously we did well, kind of recovered. You can see I drew this trend line down here. It's pretty much respected that, and it's just been following it down. And of course, Friday gave us, it was down nearly 4.5%, just over 4.5% on Friday. So we're doing well on that one. And the put contract right now is up 50%. So not bad for 2 weeks of a play on this one. And that contract I have is also through September. Looking at earnings, we have earnings in 25 days. It doesn't show the estimate yet. Doesn't show it. Oh, 2 quarters ago, earnings were 3 cents versus 45, and the thing took off. So again, we get that earnings is really a gamble. There's really no telling. It can look at this. Look how badly it missed earnings by 93%, and the thing, went from $9 to 13. Incredible, but it corrected and came right back down and even lower. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Yeah. So next one, Newsa. I say News Corp. This one I am a little red on this one. Trying to think where no, back up. I got in right here. So this guy right here on the 6th. And I don't really see what the RSI showed me. I could have had different trend line growing there or something. But anyways, I got in here on the 6th. Did well for a couple of days. It's come back up here to the 50-day. You can see the gold line. And we got the linear regression channel drawn in here. And it's come up to that right now. And News Core right now is at kind of a funky place because last 3 days it's been up. I mean, remember Friday, we had a big red day on most, and this was up Friday, and it's creeping to find new highs, and it actually closed up above the 50-day. You can zoom in here, you see. So if we find new highs, that's not good for me on the short side. And if it is going to take off, I truly think it's going to be on the short term. I don't expect their numbers are horrible as well. So I really don't expect, again, looking at the probabilities, the stocks obviously move within their channels, but this doesn't have the demand and buyers to push this higher. I mean, geez, I think worst case scenario would come up here to the moving averages. But then we got earnings coming up. 6 cents is what they're expecting in 18 days. Here last quarter, they had 5 cents versus the estimate of 7 cents. They missed it. You can see it gap down hard. I mean, it's just when you don't have the numbers, the sales and the growth and the profits behind you, the stock won't really perform. So here's the weekly chart. You can see on the weekly chart, though, one thing is we are kind of at the bottom of the channel right now. Almost. We got a little ways to go, and even that amount would be great. But we could see a bounce out of here. I don't think so. But if so, then I'll adjust my I'll exit and do what I have to do to prevent any additional losses. Next, we have SC. Now, SC, I got in a while ago. This was a long-term call. This is the one call that I have on the books right now. And I bought this back in early June. June. Okay, so I played this breakout here. And this is, again, one of the reasons why I don't have much confidence in the longs right now. Even strong companies like this one. Okay, and I played the breakout, did great. And I bought an October call on this one. So I'm going to hold it. I expect to, looking at the channel here, going to October, where are we at? Oh, I'd love to see 28. I'd love to see it climb up here. But we had a roll. I'm trying to remember what the heck happened here on this big day down. But obviously I got stuck in that. So I'm down on this one, I think about 30% right now. And then Friday, I want to see this thing climb again. I don't know. Friday, it's not looking very good. We got earnings coming up in 5 days, looking for a 70-cent estimate, 77-cent estimate. I'd love to see you get a pop out of this and get right back into ground. And what this kind of reminds me of too is, let's jump over to cyber. No, not cyber. What am I thinking of? Oh, I'm forgetting which one was it. There was one I was holding here a while ago, long, and it just took a dump. Oh, I'm not remembering which one it was. And it just took a dump and kind of looked like again, it had a real down day and it just dropped a lot in value and it pretty much killed the option. And it started to climb up and I took what I could out of it. I think I got close to even on it and I sold, and I was running out of time on the contract. I had like under a month left, probably, I don't know, 20 or 30 days. And before it went to zero and pulled back and lost value, I sold. Well, the thing then just absolutely came back. Oh, it was CNC. Let's take a look. No, it wasn't it. Oh, yes, it was back here. I played this breakout, failed big time. And so I was holding the contract and I finally sold when we got about here. I was like, all right, we're back to here. And the contract, of course, devalued quite a bit, but it continued. And by the time I got expiration, which actually was this dotted line here, I would have done very nicely if I would have been patient and held on. I mean, what a comeback. Not that I'm very hopeful necessarily with SC here. Again, good, strong numbers. We'll take a look and see how strong the numbers are here in 5 days. But if strong, I expect this thing to pop and get right back into the game. And again, I have till October. So I got all the way back here. So we'll see how we are with that one. Next one we have here is Rayonier. Okay, well, here's the chart. Let's take a look at the weekly. Here's the weekly. So the weekly linear regression, you can see we had going back here to October, we just had a horrible week there, dropped from $44 to $34. And it's just suffered quite a bit. And yeah. Excuse me, jumping ahead to the daily here. So here we are. So not looking very good. You can see when we've had these earnings in the past, this thing is just here. It beat earnings and look what it did. Went from 34 to 28 to 26. Oh my gosh. And it beat earnings by 35 cents, 35%. But, again, the outlook for 2015 was probably going to be very poor, just because they beat earnings isn't the whole picture. And that's obviously one of the things you see when a company misses earnings, but their outlook is great for the next year or two, and the thing will just take off. So anyways, and then it kind of recovered a bit. Here's earnings again, beat earnings again by a penny. The thing just dropped. Go back here, beat earnings by 100%. Just nothing. Now we're just dropping on the downside here. So again, now they're expecting a 2-cent estimate. So obviously, looking back here again, they beat earnings, but their outlook for the coming year was not good. And the earnings estimates are reflecting that right now at a 2-cent estimate right now. Earnings will be out in 11 days. So this is RYN. I got into RYN on this day, the 8th. Let me zoom in a bit. This little candle right here. And the reason I got into this one, I don't remember if this was the reason why, but we had something like this going on. Okay. So you can see we kind of have this channel with the RSI. We come up and hit this high here. It pulled back pretty nicely too. Look at that, 26, and came back down 25. Okay. I got down here. It could have been a short-term buy, so on, so on. So anyways, we got right over here and we were at the top of this channel here at resistance, and we'd met it several times before, and we finally got a pullback the next day, and that's where I entered. And lucky me, it continued down and then failed the support. And that's another good indicator right there. So zooming out, let's look at the bottom part of the channel here. You can see the point here, and so came down there, traded sideways a bit before it just collapsed. And that would have been nice to get in here as well. So here we are. Yeah. With this one, I am up currently, I think 118%. I got in on that day. I have this contract to November. So all the way down to here. So if this thing just continues just to plummet and plummet and plummet, well, then we'll be doing very well. That'll be really nice. But of course, I expect this to bounce here somewhere. We'll see. We're at the bottom of the channel right now that you can see. Doesn't mean it'll support that. We have earnings again in 11 days, 2-cent estimate. I'm thinking that this thing, even if it beats earnings, the outlook will be even worse. And this thing drops down to, let's get to $10. I don't know. Geez, we could, not $10. I don't mean that, but whatever. If this thing really fails, we could see $22. I mean, who knows? We're up on it. We can afford a little bit of movement on it. So bring on the earnings. Even if this thing pops, I'll still be able to get out, at least doubling my money by that point. And that's ultimately what I'd like to do. The last one I'm holding right now, CCG, Campus Crest. The reason I played this one and the reason it made the short list, all these should be on the short list, was we had this pop here. Their fundamentals just stink. And we pretty much, I hate to say overbought, oversold is reasons, but this definitely, I expect us to pull back down, come back to earth here. You got too much of a pop out of that. Well, that was earnings, missed earnings by 33%. Back on the July 15th, it popped well, closed up above the 100-day. Didn't quite make the 200-day up here. And I got in back here on the 17th. I got on the next day. Yeah, we finally got this red day here. And I knew it was going to start, and I pretty much had it. We traded sideways with some tight trading here. Got me a little nervous here. I thought, well, this could be one that actually might have something to it and takes off. But Friday, it gave us nearly a 3% loss. I expect this thing again to crumble and fall down. It's not very high price stock at all. Might get a couple bucks out of it. But yeah, I bought this one pretty deep in the money. So because I expect a little bit of dollar price movement, I will get a better return on the put. So again, Friday sure helped, but and I'll be holding this one through December. So it gives me a lot of time here. And let me just jump back and take a look at the weekly. Here's the weekly chart. Okay, so you could say, oh, we got a little room on the channel here, perhaps. But you can see it never really, whatever. Let's go to December here. Where's December? Here's December. There's December right here. So where do you think this is going to be? I think it'll definitely be down under $5 for sure by then. But we'll see. Time will tell. And certainly with a nice pop like this gives us a nice entry point, nice head start, capture all the gains we can as this thing continues to fall apart and crumble. Okay. So let me shoot through just a few that I'm looking at. Again, I have one. I'll give you one right here that I'm looking for that my premium pick identified for my system picked up as a premium pick. But I'm not posting it because we have earnings in 3 days. And again, my feeling in the overall market right now is I just don't have the confidence to make it a premium pick right now. I'll definitely want to see some new highs here. And, if the markets can turn around next week, again, where we landed with the markets, and let's take a look here again. I'm thinking we're going to come back down. So it may not be necessarily an extremely horrible week, but I think we're going to come back down here and touch. Monday could be a horrible day. Then we can get a nice bounce again for another week and a half and hopefully further. But we have, again, room to come down here, at least to the bottom of this channel, to the 200-day. So, yeah. So I don't want to do that. And then we got, with VDSI, I want the markets to be climbing, preferably, and this will as well. I don't want it to fight the tide. And we have earnings in 3 days. Now, one thing with earnings, this could actually just pop this. Okay, we're at the bottom of the channel. This is just one of the things with those magic mysteries of technical analysis. You'll see a stock at the bottom of the channel, and then it just gaps up and takes off. Well, it's obviously something that triggers it, and it's sometimes earnings. So let's look at history again here real quick. What do we got back here? Beat earnings 32 cents versus 9, up 255% over the expectations. It gapped up nicely, took off from 19, climbed up to 30, pulled back, Had earnings again, 32 cents. Beat earnings by 60 cents. Not good enough. Pulled right back down from, again, what, $30 is where we had resistance. Pulled right back down. Oh, where are we at? Let me draw a line right there. You can see that. I mean, how nice is this? Support and resistance is an amazing thing. Okay. Anyways, boom. Popped right through it. Pulled back. Okay. There was that earnings. Here we go. Previously, beat earnings again by 116%. Sideways action finally popped a bit, climbed, and then since it pulled back. So now again, we're at the bottom of the channel. We got earnings here, 32 cents. We're either going to head back down, possibly to 21 or up to 35. That's where I think we're going to go, but I can't say just yet. So I'm going to shoot through a few more that I am watching very closely for the short list. And yeah, I got a few here. So we'll shoot through them pretty quickly. First one, iTech. Okay. I saw this made my my criteria here. You can see this movement here is definitely abnormal. The RSI and the ADX are just through the roof. I don't see anything to support this. I believe that this company released that they it's pharmaceutical, that they had some good results on something or other. Somebody had pointed out as well. I'm trying to think, is it? Oh, it's somebody, another trader that I follow on Twitter, had a great video talking about this, and that the stock was. Let me take a look here. Okay, so going back to the 20th, this thing gapped up on rumors, probably something. I mean, look at the trading range here. The volume is nothing, and this thing just popped, and it went, and then they had this nice run up here, and where was it? Anyways, what he had pointed out was that there was a news release. Oh yeah, okay, no, he pointed out all the accumulation here. Okay, look at the volume. Someone's accumulating nicely, and then right about here, I don't know what time it was, like 10 that morning, right here or so, I think a press release came out, and it had some the headline was written, this thing's just going to explode, and it's, the potential is unlimited, and it's, this company's got a breakthrough. And they mentioned all these kind of keywords to encourage the retailer trader to jump all over this, hey, look at this thing's the next one to pop. But the problem is that he had pointed out was just before it came out, there was heavy accumulation. Okay, so forget how the timing is, but he showed it on this video. I'll try to post a link. But they accumulated, and then the press release came out, and then it took off a bit, and everybody's in now. Everybody's excited about this thing. This thing's trending. The ticker, it got my attention just because of the pop. But this thing, there's nothing to hold this up. I don't think that the company has any kind of FDA approval on everything. It was just something that they said that they had a good result, but there was the press releases that came out. So again, it's just a pump, and then we're going to see a dump. That's what I think. So right now, things at $17. It might be good to play a small position in this on the downside. We had this thing here, and then look at Friday. Friday, of course, in the markets overall was a red day, but this candle, don't like it. So I'm expecting Monday, especially if the markets are red, Monday, this thing's just going to come back down. And wouldn't it be nice to play this from 17 back down to 5? Okay, well, it might be worth a small position. I wouldn't throw everything at this or anything like that. But if you're going to buy a put, I didn't price them or anything like that right now. But, it might be good to just to fill a little starter position out there, and you could probably get some pretty quick gains. And if this thing does really start breaking down, I would definitely expect us to fall right back. Again, look at the volume. Essentially no volume. This pop last gave us 23 million shares. What was I can't even see the average before that. Nothing. So keep an eye on iTech, bottom line. Next one, UCTT. Where'd we go? What's going on here? Sorry about that. Oh, it rebooted. Okay. CTT. Chart back here. Okay. Same kind of thing. Fundamentals in this company stink. They beat earnings, though. You can see it pop nicely. I'm not expecting much out of this. I expect this thing to fall right back down again. So, again, we're at $7 right now. I'd be looking for it to at least get underneath 6. Keeping an eye on that. The volume on this one's very low, though. This will prevent me from entering it, actually. But I think it's a good short play. I'll still post it in the short list for those who want to play. Love these kind of plays. Again, I still think on the price action it's going to fall, but the volume is too low for me to play with. I'm not going to enter it myself. Next we have, we already talked about CCG. That's the one. Okay. Next we have CISG. What's this one? Yep. Come up and hit the 100-day. I expect this thing to pull right back down. Yeah. We did not make higher highs here. I don't expect it to. Earnings coming up in 30 days. So keep an eye on that one. SBS, this made the premium, the short list recently, and it was back in here. I don't have the date written down, but you can see definitely this thing is falling apart. I've posted this one previously, and we're definitely getting some good movement out of it. Again, it's only priced, it could have got in, just under 6, and right now it's only at 536. So a good percentage, not a lot of price movement dollar-wise. So it makes it difficult with options, but I'm looking for this thing to fall right back down to 5. So at least you probably squeeze close to $1 out of it, I think. And then again, you got earnings coming up in 20 days, 9 cents. Land's End. And again, with some of these I'm mentioning here, a lot of them have pretty low volume. So always keep an eye on volume. Land's End, we've talked about this one before. You can see it was kind of just falling down a little bit. I think we talked about it back in here when it kind of came up to the top of the channel. Yeah, you can see the RSI here. You can see back here, it finally broke above the RSI support or resistance. I'm sorry. And we got a nice little pop out of it there, 24 up to 26, just about. Now we're pulling back, and you can see now we've broken back down through that line thanks to Friday's action. Nearly a 4% loss on Friday. So I'm looking for this thing to, here's the linear regression. Let me fix this. You can see it. I'm looking for this thing to continue right back down, probably. Could we see definitely under 20, I would think. Again, earnings in 40 days, 10%, 10 cent expectation. So keep an eye on that one. It does have low volume, though. Average volume is just over 550,000. Too low for me, once again, which is really unfortunate. We already looked at DeVry. There it is, not VD. We already looked at DeVry, talked about it. I'm currently holding that one. We already talked about that one. Talked about that one. MCF. Okay, MCF. MCF has been probably one of my favorite ones. I've been playing this one on the downside for a long time. And I was looking at it here. I don't know if you can see. Let me shoot back over here. Let me do this. Okay, now you can see me. If you can see right over here on my Chinese painting there, I have a bunch of little sticky tabs. That's what I write all my little trades on, all my entries in that. And I got these stickies everywhere, and I move them around, and that's pretty much my stick-em notes that I use to trade. And I have all the details on there, what the contract is or what my entry is, the date, and then when I close it out on it, I write down at the bottom. I'll write down the gain or the loss, what it can be. And so I was looking back on the winners I have, and MCF I've been in and out of that thing, I think 5 or 6 times. And I don't think, let me see here. Let me see how my eyes work from here. Okay, I see a 61% in July, 28%. I just had another 25%, 56%. And I see another 45%. So you can see those are all different plays. And the gains for options aren't necessarily great, but they're double digits, and they're all averaging about 50% returns. I've done that like 5 times. MCF continues to be a winner because it just keeps falling. And let me go back to it here. And the rate of decline is not so great. So where I've been playing it, and I started playing it back in here. It was originally when this thing broke down here. And so originally I got a couple quick pops out of it, and I took the profits and ran. And I've played it again a few more times, but the rate of decline hasn't been so great. And you could say, yeah, it went from 16 down to now under 10. That's great, but as far as the contract, it wasn't a very explosive move. Not many explosive moves. And as this thing just kind of kept up with the time decay on the contract. And so just here after Friday, though, it shot up the contract just pretty much. I was just red on it, I think. And then it went up 50%. I forget what I took it off Thinkorswim. Anyways, and I was up. I just closed it out at 25%. And I took it because the contract was not red. It was red here in the last week or so. And I had a lot of money on it. I threw quite a bit of money on it. So because of that, I took my 25% profit off it and cashed that in. So it was a lot of money considering how much I had on it. The gains were not very good, only 25%, right? But I am out of MCF, and I will look for a new opportunity to get in. And let's look at here in the weekly. Here's the weekly. What do you think? Just incredible, insane. Let me zoom out even more. Boy, this thing was up at $100 at one point, nearly $100. Wow. So here we are today. Sorry about that. Let's do this. Here we are today. Again, this is the weekly. We're still at the bottom half of the channel here, and it's just still falling. It's still finding new lows. Okay, you can see the range isn't too good. But here in the last 2 weeks, we've had several days where it's been down 5%. Just 5%, next day 5%, next day 5%. Just crazy. So MCF, that one's just been a cash cow. Talked about RYN. Okay, PVA. This made the short list a while ago, and this has just been another awesome winner, especially percentage-wise. Probably not so much on as far as, well, actually, I don't have the date that this was originally posted. PVA, let me take a look here. PVA, okay, say it's 17th of July, and I thought we had it once again earlier. So 17th of July. 17th of July. Okay. No, it's June. Sorry about that. I thought okay. Well, right here. That's not right. Okay, well, this has been on my radar. We even talked about this one for a while. So I think it made the short list a while ago as well, because sometimes these stocks will hit the criteria a few times. Anyways, this thing's just been a killer. And where are we at on it? Yeah, so on the short list since the 17th, it's down 27, or we'd be up 27. Okay, that's it. I guess just the 17th. Anyways, back to the chart. So PVA, earnings in 4 days. This thing's just still falling apart. It's an oil and gas company here, expecting an estimate of a loss of 48 cents. Yeah. I mean, this thing, again, now we're down there to $2. I mean, this thing's just going to crumble. So, CCG, we already talked about that. Eagle, bulk shipping. He's all the bulk transport companies here did really well here in the last few weeks, as you can see, and a lot of them pretty much kind of got overstretched here. I think, in my opinion, and you can see in the RSI or the Stoke that confirms that we kind of got to the overbought range, I guess you could say. Look at the RSI here again, keeping an eye on this, watching this thing climb, and a few others like it, watching this thing climb, and then it finally breaks down right here, right at the top. So you could have got in right here on this next day on the 22nd. Could have rode it from, squeeze good 50 cents out of it. Somewhat early play. This was added to the short list back on the 21st, so just a few days ago. But you can see we did get a little movement, and I expect this to continue to fall. And again, on earnings is in 19 days. I don't have the estimate yet, but yeah, not very good. GE, that's not it. MRGE. Okay, so this made the list as well. This thing had earnings already. It beat earnings 8 cents versus the 4-cent estimate. But I expect this thing to fall right back down. You can see the linear regression channel we have here did not make new highs. So you get the previous high here. We did on the short term have new highs, of course, but I think the earnings are going to bring this right back down. It's currently priced at 536. This is a software, Merge Healthcare. So it's one I'm keeping an eye on right now. There's no position in this one right now. And so volume is at, average volume is at 731,000. That's just above where I like to play. But we'll see about this one. Let me look at the weekly on it. Here's the weekly. Definitely does not look bearish on the weekly. It's been climbing. Will it make new highs, or are we going to start finding new lower highs on the weekly? We'll see. It starts here now. Okay. Another one, FTK. Okay, this is one I'll probably play here. You can see I got a lot of volume. Average volume is 1.7 million. This is Oil Well Services, energy outfit. And it just popped on earnings here. It had 2-cent loss versus the 4-cent loss expectation. So, wow, that's just great news. It's losing money. Okay, so it pops up, jumped up from 12 to it hit 18. And then Friday, of course, down 5%. This thing's already going to fall apart. I'll probably wait till Monday, see how we do, see if we can get certainly underneath the 200-day. The 200-day is currently at 1633. I might let this thing drop a good $1, maybe. We'll see what we do here. Again, you see the linear regression channel that's drawn on here. It doesn't look very accurate, but you can see it popped up through it, but it pulled back. I think it's going to do the same. Again, we failed to make new highs. Let me draw a line here. Again, we're on the daily. I just kind of see this area right here. Came down, touched that area, bounced around, broke through, touched it, nearly touched it. It's trying. I don't think it's going to do it. And I think we're going to find, quickly discover. That's not what I wanted. I think we're going to quickly discover that we're not able to find higher highs. So this will continue downward, I believe. So anyways, the price is right. It's good. Not too expensive, not too cheap of a stock. You got plenty of volume. This could be a good put play on the downside. Yeah. And then looking at the, let's take a look here at the RSI. I keep talking about the RSI. What do we got? All right. Yeah. So one indicator you could use, and sometimes I do if you really want to get a confirmation out of it, is, stupid thing. You might want to look at when we finally fail on the RSI, fail that. In order for this to come back down here, this thing might come all the way down to 15 at that point. You probably don't want to miss out on that loss, or that gain right there from 16 down to 15. But you may want to keep an eye on this one. Again, yeah, FTK. NM. This is one that made the short list here a few days ago. You can see we did find the high. Let me see when we did that. NM. NM. Where is it? Can I add NM? It should have been here with SB on the 22nd, but anyways. 22nd. Okay, so you can see this thing just climb very nicely. Again, this is a transport. Cleared about the 200-day, didn't do much for 2 days, and we finally got the breakdown here. and that's where I intended it to make the short list. Either way, you can see since that point though it has fallen right back down from 425. Now we're down to under 4 at 390. Volume, I believe, is fair. Average volume just under 1 million. Yeah, so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. Take a look at the weekly. 30 week. All right, and we got earnings in 26 days. They're expecting a loss of 31 cents. And the next one I have here is SB, another transport. Same thing here. Look at this. It just climbed up here on the 22nd. This is on the short list. Another one right with it. Same thing. This thing went from 4 right down to 350 or so right now. Earnings in 5 days, and they're expecting an 8-cent loss. So, all right. So now, what are we looking at? Let's take a look at AGEN. Okay. This was brought up, and we're going to take a quick look at this. Let me take a look at the fundamentals here really quick. Take a drink of my soda. AGEN has pretty much zero earning strength. How did we do at earnings? 44-cent loss versus a 15-cent estimate. Oh my gosh. And this somebody had requested to take a look at this one, and I have a feeling that they're long on it. They want to be long on it. I'm looking short on it. But again, missed earnings by nearly 200%. That means this thing could actually take off. Earnings are a crapshoot. Again, we'll see. But let's take a look at the chart here. Okay, so looking at the short term, we are trending upward here. We're in the channel. We're at the bottom of the channel right now, and it is climbing. I would want to see earnings pop this thing up and get us right back up to, say, 11 something. That would be nice. I don't know. Looking at Friday's action, it was down 4.3%. We're sitting here on the 50-day average, as you can see. Let me zoom in. Here's our gold line. That's a 50-day. We're at the bottom of the channel. Just had earnings. Yikes. Boy, I don't know about this one. If you could play it. I wouldn't buy yet at all. One thing about playing something off support like this, if you have the channel or off a moving average, you can set your stop pretty fair. Obviously, the lower the price, it's going to be more of a percentage where you want to put your stop underneath. So if you put your stop down here to say, $1 less, that's obviously too much of a loss if you're a stop loss percentage wise. You'd have to have a pretty tight stop. But at the same time, though, just because we're at the bottom of the channel doesn't mean it's giving you a signal to buy. Okay, let's look at the RSI. Okay, so here we have the RSI. So at least what I look at is right there. I look at this previous low here. See if it's much supported. Okay, so zooming back here a few months. So you can see this area here where I have the RSI drawn in. Let's just call it 45. We bounced off it there, bounced off it there, bounced off it there, failed it there, but popped right back through. Here we are, another. Coming off the 45 on the RSI, you look at it, and there's usually pretty good buy points. Could be. We're down to it right now. We're essentially touching it right now. Doesn't look like, unless Monday is going to be a strong green, I don't think we're going to bounce off this. I think it's going to fail it. Looking at the Stoke, you can see we're up on the upper side and it's turning downward. ADX, got the minus is above the plus. Yeah, I'm not liking this. Let me look at the 15-minute. 15-minute. Okay, now you can see the linear regression channel is sloping downward. We're at the bottom of the channel right now. Could get a little movement on the upside, maybe to $9, maybe if it's quick. I'm not liking this at all. No. Earnings, it got a nice little pop, but it was short-lived. It popped for an hour or two and it pulled right back. And you can see it's not making new highs. So looking at this one again, I would not buy into this until I started to see new highs, even on the 15-minute. I wouldn't go much closer. Man, I'd want to see this thing climb $1 before I even got into it at the most. And that's up to that point. No, I'd want to see new highs above this point right here, above 950, 960. At least I would want to see that before I'd enter a starter position. Let it create a new high. Okay. And then once it got up to this point here, say 970, I would enter a small position, just of a tester. I mean, you could really probably just let it get above 10. I mean, again, it depends how, not safe you want to play it, but I mean, if you want this thing really to make new highs, not just looking at the previous short-term high, we have this one back here at 990. I'd want to see it clear that. So if you really have hope in this company to go long on it, I would actually wait for it to close above 10. That's my final decision. So there's 10 there. It's going to give us a new high. It's going to be above the $10 mark. 10's going to act as a good support and resistance area. Clear that, and then if this company really has something to it, and things are starting to turn around, which I don't know what those things do not look like they're turning it around at all. They're 44-cent loss versus 21 previous. Yeah, not good. I like this on the short side actually. So, okay, well, that's that one. So sorry for my poor analysis. It's probably not what you want to hear, but that's my analysis. So if you play this on a long side, I would be very light and very, very cautious. And yeah, I don't see a confirmation in it now. So yeah, let's take a look. I'm just kind of taking a look here at some of the losers from Friday. It's on one list I have here. WLB had earnings, 82-cent loss versus 65. You can see clearly it failed its support there. That could be a good play on the downside. We are at the bottom of the channel right now, but you know what? That channel is going to be redrawn if this thing fails. So that's Westmoreland Coal. Next, Kirk's. Holy smokes. Oh my gosh. This right here tells me, this is one of the challenges that I have personally here, is I have my systems. Okay. I have my criteria, my setups. And when the stocks meet my setups, I'm informed of them. Okay. I saw this and I got my warning on this one. A couple of days ago, it might have been, I'm trying to remember which I have several systems. I don't think it was this breakdown here. It might have been this where the red crossed above the green right here. Something, whatever it was, and depending on what system it was, it told me that this was a bearish play. It even could have been right back in here. Okay. It did not look good to me like it was yet. And then I thought, well, it's a pharmaceutical, anything can happen, and you have earnings coming up in a couple of weeks. Why didn't I listen to my system that proves? I let my gut override my system. Now, sometimes, whatever. I'm just looking back at this, just going, why didn't I? But my system tells me sometimes, and it's a shame when I look back at them, and I see I could have ridden this thing from 10 down to under 8 in just a few days. That would have just been an explosive. It was an explosive move on the downside. So, all right, quit crying about what I missed out on. But looking at this, so look at the RSI. Okay, look at this move right here. Okay, we've been watching this one. We came down to this point here, and then obviously this point here, and we created this bottom support line. And so that's what we had drawn through here. And you see we were coming down to it. Got a nice drop out of it there. Sorry. Came down to it. And what's it going to do? Well, it just rode on it a little bit, started to peel up, and then it failed. And look at that move right there. My goodness. So earnings are in 12 days are expecting a 26-cent loss. Last quarter, it was 28 cents. Met expectations, 28-cent loss. Prior to that, 44. So Kirk's Pharmaceuticals, Bio. Wow. That's crazy. Okay. CRK down 13. This is an interesting one as well. Earnings are in 11 days. Let me draw a support line there. Short-term support line. It's probably going to find some lower lows, all-time lows. We already talked about PVA. Already talked about this one. That's down 12+%. SGY. Man, down 11.5%. CLF. And here's Rex. Rex. We played Rex. I got to look at this. Oops. No, we played Rex. No. I guess not. Well, you can see how this thing's just been doing since July 1st. I thought we played this. That's crazy. Anyways, 548. Wow, it's just falling apart. Earnings in 10 days, expecting a 28-cent loss. And you look at this, you say, "Oh, it's down to here. It's too late. I've missed the breakdown." No, you didn't. You still would have doubled your money. Where are we at? What do we got here? Oh, look at that. Look at that. That looks good. So there's our previous low right there. We've failed that. This is an all-time low. Where are we going? $2.31. Wow. All right. Here we go. Another energy, oil well services. Wow. Just $1.12 a share expectation of a loss. My goodness. Wow. This is just ugly. Here's our FCX that we've been playing. Let's see what else looks familiar here. We've talked about ECR. I think we talked about that one not long ago. Win. Win. Oh, yeah. This is one. Again, I like MCF. This is one that I've ridden over and over, and we just keep killing it on it. This thing just, yeah, that must be my weekly RSI. Oh, okay. So anyways, take a look at this here. Now we're looking at the weekly. You can see I was kind of looking at this here, this upper line here. I had drawn just kind of see if we're ever going to, that's what I'd look for if I expected this to bounce. Fundamentals are not there whatsoever. But I had drawn that. But I also had drawn this support line here, and I'm trying to see what was I looking at. Zooming out quite a bit. This isn't perfect, but you can see my line is drawn to say at 24. A couple points you've come down and touched it and bounced it, there. So very long term. Let's see if it's a monthly thing. Okay, well, here's a monthly. Anyways, you can see we hit it here. I drew it in there. We just broke through that. Just broke through it. Came back out to test it and bounced right off it again on the downside. We see that opposite of that on a breakout. It breaks through resistance, comes back, touches it as support, and then bounces again. It just did the opposite. We're just looking upside down now. So, wow. Okay, and then the other thing I see here, of course, is Stoke. Let me draw this kind of crudely. I think you see what I'm looking at there. You could see this is not making higher highs. Well, you can get pretty creative and just, yeah. Look at that. Just not doing it. You got the ADX here. You got the red above the green, the negative DI above, crossed above the positive DI, and it's maintained that ever since it did that. Look at this. Look what it's done. It's gone from $11 to $4.50. Incredible. It's so easy when you look back at the charts and you see this action, and you're just, the indicators tell you the story, and sometimes it's so hard to see it. Okay, so that's that. Now let's take a look at the winners. Kala. Okay, so here's one. Kala. This is one I was going to talk about as well. And I'm sorry this video is so long, but I'm just in a rambling mood today. Kala. This just made my short list. I haven't posted it yet. I haven't got the confirmation I want to see yet. But by criteria, it just met it. Okay. So it's probably a day or two early. But so I'll just, for the record, I'll post it here now. So Kala Biosciences. Again, you get these bio companies. They make me a little nervous. I don't trust them. But what do we just see in Kirk's? Again, here's Kirk's. I didn't like what I saw right back here. It went up and just fell apart. So I tell you what, Kala. Average volume just under $1 million, $9 right now. Look at the volume. It's a lot of volume. This thing really hasn't done much though. I'd expect it to pop with that much volume, like it did back here, right? Pre-earnings. Look at that. That thing. Everybody was into this pre. I'm going back here, obviously. Let me take a look at this again. This is interesting. Day before earnings, somebody thought they knew something. Look at that volume. This thing popped from 925 to nearly 14. And by the next day, it was 14. Earnings came out and it missed. 44-cent loss versus a 39-cent loss. And this thing just gave you a one big turd all the way down to the bottom here. Unbelievable. Wow. Okay. Back to modern day here. Excuse me. Okay. Let me do this. Let me fix this a little bit here so we can see what's going on here. Okay, so here we are. We're obviously heading downward. Now look at the RSI. Okay, so I have this upper resistance line from these peaks. You can see we drew it in back to here. And what I was looking for, let me draw it again. It'll cross through here. Is this thing going to pop through it? It did. Okay, and you can see I also drew the short-term support line through here. We're kind of getting to a wedge here. What's it going to do? Break down, break up? Well, we broke up. Okay, that's cool. Fine. Whatever. And that is giving us some higher highs in the RSI. Okay, and we did get some nice movement out of it. You can say this thing, when it popped through on that day, it went from, 7? And it's reached a high of over 10. Wow. Pretty nice. But what's it going to do? I don't know. So basically what I'm looking for is I expect this thing to collapse, to pull back again. Let me jump to the hourly here and see if this shows us anything. Wow. Okay, so here's the hourly now. Pretty wild patterns here, huh? This must be the opens. Yeah, that's the open. Pop and fade, pop and fade. Okay, let me go back to the daily. Okay, so back here, looking at the, let me do this, make it a little easier to see. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's take a look at the RSI here. We see the chart. Chart's great, big deal. Okay. So the RSI, so you can see I got this down here. So now on the short term, I'm looking at what we have for support on the RSI here. Again, here's just kind of that wedge that it created. It popped on the upside. Pretty much a gamble. I mean, it's going to either pop on the down or pop on the up, was what I expect. It could just continue straight through, I suppose, to some point, but it's gonna move. It went on the upside. So here we are. Found a new highs here. So on the really short term, if you really, really wanted to, you could do something like this, and see if it'll fail, if it'll pop through. Find newer lows. I mean, again, I can draw lines all over this, but I would probably wait perhaps for the RSI to come and break down underneath 50. You can see that's about where I'm at right here for these 2 points. Let this thing break back down. Now, this thing could come down to support here and then pop off again and continue to climb higher. For better confirmation, I'd probably want to see this thing break down here, cross underneath 40 on the RSI. I mean, that pretty much let this thing come back down to earth here. Also, keep in mind, we got the green, the plus DX, the DI is above the red right now. And it's climbing higher. So that is not giving me an indicator right now that this thing tomorrow, Monday, will be heading downward. But again, we can have news and this thing could head downward and all these lines will correct and follow suit. Also note though, the Stoke. The Stoke is, looks like it's just starting to peak out over here about 59. So that's got my interest as well. So we'll keep an eye on Kala next week. And this thing, there's a lot of hype on this one as it's starting to climb right now. Again, look at the volume. I think we're going to get people caught in this. Again, the market is not favorable on the bull side right now. So this might get another couple of days of pop on it. It could come up to the channel here. Then I expect a swift decline back down. And this would be a fun one to ride from 9 down to 5. So a couple of others here. Sand. Where's Sand? Oh, geez. Sand was up 8% on Friday. Interesting. I don't know what the news was. Sandstorm Gold provides asset update. So basically they're pulling news out of their butt because they're falling apart. They're down to 250 a share. Well, they're up to 250. They were even lower. They're down to 230. So they provide an update on assets. To me, they're scrambling. I haven't read it. I don't know that. But let me look at previous support here. We broke through it, held it. We're above it. Earnings, 0 cents. Expectation in 18 days. All right. And TLS. Okay. Trying to see what's RGSE. Yes. All right. All right. Let me go back over here. How long have we been going? Doesn't say. Let me do this. All right, stand by. I was going to see if Nayor is around. He emailed me. He sent me a message at like 4 this morning, which I was out. I didn't see it. What I'll do is I will publish his video as is right now. And what we'll probably do this weekend, I'll probably hook up with him again and go over it. And I'll record it as well on here. We'll look at some stocks. He usually has a few stocks to look at, and I like doing that. So what we'll do is I'll just meet up with him here in another unscheduled time. Or if we have a few people that want to look at some stocks and do this get together and express an interest, we can schedule it this weekend and kind of all meet up on here and talk stocks and look at some charts and this. But obviously with this, I have an agenda that I need to go through, and it's always kind of sometimes difficult because when we look at charts, we do it at the end, and sometimes I can go on for a little while talking about the charts and the outlook and everything like that. And so yeah, it's kind of easier to break it in two. So that's what I have for today. So unfortunately, again, to summarize here, I don't have hardly anything on the bull side. Not long anything. The only thing I have a position that's long right now, again, is SC. And I have a call on that October call. And I'm still holding that. It's whatever, but the rest are all puts. And again, this week we're just killing it. Let me tell you first off, really quickly, a little bit about InvestFeed. Over at InvestFeed and in our chats, I've been posting when I've been entering positions. And over at InvestFeed, what you can do over there is it's like a StockTwits, except you can subscribe to different traders, kind of like you can at StockTwits, except over there you enter trades in real time, your entries and closures, and it records it and documents and records your performance based on the number of winning stocks versus losing stocks, average returns, everything else. And especially on those that you're holding, how many are, the win-loss ratio, where you're sitting with that. So as a trader, it's really fun to kind of go over there. And again, I look at a lot of these stocks, on the short list, and when I enter them, I enter them. And those are the trades that I play, and when I enter and exit. And so I also post a lot of those over at the chat room. But we're not getting a lot of room over in our chat room. Everybody seems to be over at InvestFeed. So I'm kind of playing the both of them. So come on over there and check it out. And you can follow me over there. But there is a premium feed, and you can join that as well. But again, right now for the members over at TopFlight Trades, I am essentially mirroring those over in our chat. Yeah, I think right now participation is down pretty low. I think people are pretty discouraged right now because of what the market's doing. A lot of people are in the red right now because they're long. And of course, I have some losing positions as well, but there's been a lot of winning positions. And over at InvestFeed, we just been doing really well on a lot of these short plays. Yesterday, I think it closed out 4 or 5 positions that were 20+% each. And they're the same stocks we're talking about right here, the PVA, FCX. We talked about that, MCF. Win. I mean, all these stocks are just tanking. I mean, we're doing pretty well on them. And yeah, so come follow us. Come play along here and make some money. Again, this stuff is I'm not saying easy or anything like that, but I mean we're doing well right now, and I love to share it, and I want you to make money, and I want to do what I can to help you with that, and be here for you. Because my road has not always been making money in the markets, for sure. But we're doing well recently, and so I certainly love to share it with you. I love to interact with you and talk stocks and do what I can to contribute and help towards your success with this. So, well, I thank you for watching today. Sorry for the long video. We covered a lot. Again, we'll try to do another video this weekend if I can catch up with anybody. If anybody reads this, watches this video here, and is interested in kind of talking stocks, looking at any charts or anything like that, get a hold of me. You can reach me over at TopFlight Trades is the website.com. And of course, my email is topflighttrades@gmail.com. My name's Eric. Come on over. I'm on StockTwits, InvestFeed, Facebook, Twitter. We're all over the place. And so do my best to reach out to y'all, and yeah, hope to make some money with you. So have a good day. Turn off the computer. I hope you spend some time with your family and friends, get out in the summer, and don't light any fires. We've got fires all over the West here, and our whole state of Washington's on fire. Alaska, I think, burned away a couple weeks ago. They got 10 million fires. Get out, have some fun, enjoy the day, and get ready for Monday, because Monday next week's going to be a good one. Again, this is Eric. Talk to you later. Happy trading. Bye.